This content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no
Wait a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin vs. the World. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what they got.
Yep.
Matter of fact, let's show you right now. A lot of fun stuff this week. Alas, no Gundam.
Alas.
Yeah, you know, I actually decided to bite the bullet and just get Violet Evergarden from Amazon, just the regular version. Because it's right now it's $40 over there. It's fairly well. I mean, it's still expensive, but it's inexpensive compared to the others.
Yeah, it could be worse.
And at least I'll be able to access it whenever Right Stuff decides to ship my movie copy. But, yeah, and I've left my Best Buy up and running. You never know. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to get rid of this so we can move on. We don't have a ton to talk about this time around. Boom.
Not a lot at all.
So now you should be able to see everything. Can you see it all right?
Yes.
All
Just
right.
fine.
So, we start out with our list, which has our rankings. Priority and Hell No, we both have to agree on. Everything else, we just take the average and round down. So, Priority, must have in the collection. Either you get it right away, or you keep a freaking eagle eye on that bad boy because you don't want it going out of print.
Right.
Like, say, Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
Yes, please. You'll wish list that thing. You definitely want it, but you can wait. And if it goes out of print, you'll be upset, but it won't end the world. Curious? Yeah, you're curious. Meh. I might buy that for $1. Or I'll take it for free. And then, hell no. I wouldn't even take that for free. So we got a lot of stuff here.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. We haven't had a lot of hell no's on here.
No, we have not.
It takes a lot for
Not
us to
for lack
both.
of trying.
It really does take a lot for both of us together to say, I wouldn't even give this a basic chance.
Right.
So that's a, so you know, that shows how open we are to most movies. So I guess we'll get started. I'm the one who's starting us off this time around. And I'm starting us off with a movie called Blackjack. The Jackie Ryan story. With David Arquette, Robert Davi, Ashley Greene, and Greg Finley. It looks like a basketball thing. It's matter of fact, it's about Jackie Ryan, a basketball player. So, again, I'm not a huge basketball fan. I didn't mind Basketball Diaries, but that was really less about basketball and more about other things. I swear, my cat starts to yowl when he decides to drink because he wants to have the water moving, and he wants fresh water every time. He's a bit spoiled.
Which one's this?
Foo.
Oh, okay. That seems kind of weird considering that you used to have him drinking out of a toilet bowl. Do you still have that for them?
I have it somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah.
So, actually, I'm very meh to this, but who knows? Maybe you'll drag it up. Because I got meh so far. What do you think about Blackjack?
Meh. I'm intrigued by David Arquette and Robert Davi, but yeah, meh.
All right, your go. You see it?
Sorry, I had to do something real quick. So Battle Athletes, yeah. This is, I believe, a Discotech release. Series from '97, I believe. But like a couple of series. There's like the series, 26 episode series, and 6-episode OVA. In typical Eastern Star, typical Eastern Star Discotech form, they're doing it in one single volume, standard depth, so they can get a ton of episodes per disc. I'm a little bit annoyed by this. I wish for Blu-ray they would take the time to really clean it up. But I also appreciate the space-saving aspect, so, And I believe this is a show that's been out of print for a while. Do you know if this was ever in print?
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. It looks like it, too. Welcome to the year 4998. Somewhere in the future. Where the most important sporting event for humanity has become the athletic competition for the Cosmo Beauty title. Ooh. I don't know. It looks kind of, It looks kind of like one of those late 90s fun but disposable fluff kind of series, but I could be wrong. And there may be people who have nostalgia for this and are thrilled for its release. This is not a terrible price point. Basically, you're getting $1 an episode, which you could do worse. You could do a lot worse, really. I'll probably wait for it to come way down in price, but I would like to get it eventually. I'll go with Curious.
Why is it... Why is it I thought you had this series?
Do what?
Why is it I thought you had this one?
Actually, now that you mention that, I think I have something called Battle Skipper. I don't know if it's related to this.
So where do you put this in
I'm
your...
Curious. Well, like I say, curious.
I'm curious. That's about all I could muster for battle athletes.
Let's see here.
All right.
You got me curious now. I don't remember.
So mine isn't. It's another anime. You know, Case Closed is getting a lot of these releases. They're one-off releases, but at least we're seeing it being taken up again by Eastern Star and being re-released again in many ways. It's more movies and specials, but maybe one day we'll see a Case Closed resurgence to where they can start the anime. This anime is still going in Japan and is longer run than One Piece now. So, and only 150 episodes were released here. Essentially, the whole of it is you have a guy who was drugged, and the drug, instead of killing him, shrank him and made him a child. So now he uses his excellent mind to try and uncover the identity of his attempted killers and find a way to grow back to an adult again. It's been over 1,000 episodes and he still hasn't figured it out yet.
He's not a very good detective when you think about it.
And people are dying around him constantly. I mean, it's like a murder, almost a murder an episode. So it's pretty impressive. So these are on my eventually must get list. So it's a yes please for me. Where does that rank for you?
I don't have as much invested in this one as you do, but I do think like you said, it's huge. It really does need to get a full release here. And I guess if only to add a little bit of encouragement to Eastern Star, I'll probably try and make a point eventually. So I'll go with yes, please.
Eastern Star starts releasing 100-episode box sets, the size of like one Blu-ray case.
Yeah, probably will, but whatever.
No, I could deal with that in a way. It'd save room.
Yeah.
Especially for large series like that.
Right. You can get everything that's been released so far in Japan and take up as much room as the Funimation releases.
Yeah, true enough.
Okay. So, on that same theme, we have case file number 221, Kabukicho, Season 1, Part 1, because Funimation loves to do that. But this series, apparently, as I understand, basically takes characters and concepts and actions from the tales of Sherlock Holmes and transports it to the Kabukicho district of, I believe, Shinjuku, if I remember correctly. The main characters are Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. Jack the Ripper is a key character, apparently. I'm intrigued by this concept. It sounds weird. And it looks like it could be a lot of fun. The artwork kind of reminds me a little like Dura or Bakano or something. I wonder if it's some of the same people involved. So all in all, it sounds promising. So I'm not probably going to get the Part 1 and Part 2. I'm probably going to wait and get a good price on the complete series. But this one is a very strong, curious, borderline yes, please.
Yeah, the concept is very interesting. It's not like $100 for the full season interesting. So, yeah, definitely a curious for me as well. Well, next up, Dating Amber. So, I I don't know much about this. So, dating
I
Amber
think it's
is a
an Irish
poignant,
film.
honest, and funny look at the highs and lows of teenage life, where the only way to fit in is to not be yourself, even if it goes against your very being. Set in Ireland during the 90s, Eddie and Amber decide to stage a relationship in order to stop everyone from speculating their sexuality. Eddie is keen to follow his dad into the military, while Amber dreams of moving to the liberal hub of London. However, their ideal arrangement begins to fall apart, forcing Eddie deeper into denial, and Amber realizes that a perilous future awaits her best friend unless she intervenes. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got some stuff here that's kind of, well, I mean, it definitely speaks to the LGBT community, especially in that day and age.
Right.
So, it's kind of cool to see that and have that callback there. It's unfortunately only on DVD.
Right.
So, if you want this in high definition, maybe you can find the Irish release.
Well, probably Prime Video, I would imagine. That's probably why they're doing that. But I'm sorry, I had to laugh. I'm looking at your page here. Products related to this item: the Mule, Justice League, and Aquaman. Yes, those are very close to. But I'm curious about this. It looks pretty interesting. It looks like it could be bad, but it could be very good. It just depends on the execution.
Well,
Yeah.
I am also curious about that.
So,
Move on.
next up, and I meant to grab a visual, but I did not because I literally just came home from work and sat down at the computer. I actually have the old ADV release of this. And that is Go Nagai's Devilman Lady, which I think mine is called Devil Lady. I think that was how ADV titled it. But this is a 98 series. It's 26 episode. It's basically a riff on Nagai's Devilman series. We've talked a little bit about it on this channel. I think this series is considered one of the lesser entries. It's the only one I've actually seen, and I wasn't blown away by it, but I would actually probably like this release because it would take up a lot less space on the shelf. But I also like those old ADV cases, so it's not like, you know what I mean? It could be worse.
It's a debate.
I got it. What's that?
It's a debate.
Yeah. I got it because I was curious, and I've seen it, so I can't say I'm really curious, but it does rank better than meh. So we'll leave it at curious.
I'm curious about all the Devilman stuff, but I've never actually dived in. So maybe one day.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So you don't have that one, right?
I don't have any Devilman.
Ah.
So, this is an OVA called Genre. Interesting art style there, kind of reminiscent of, I don't know why I think of Urusei Yatsura with the hair.
Well, I think this was early 90s, wasn't it?
94, yeah. So, three gigantic, glittering, gargantuan, giant robo side stories starring IPO agent Jinrei. The International Police Organization's fetching and formidable secret agent returns in three astonishing adventures. I'm not going to worry too much about each one. Looks like a mecha series, and you know, I mean, it looks like. I mean, I kind of like the art style. I'm more into the '90s anime art style, but in reality, I'm curious, but low curious.
I'm curious.
Oh, let's see where it is.
Okay.
All right.
Speaking of mecha series, this is a good one. that I really need to see. We have, as part of the recent spate of Everything Old is New Again, we had the first Full Metal Panic series in, what, like 15 years?
Yes,
Or
second
14
rave.
years, something like that. And it's called Invisible Victory. I definitely have seen the first 3 Full Metal Panic series, and they're all great. They are classic series. I have heard good things about this series. I just have not made the time to watch it. I want it. Currently, you can get the initial release for cheaper than this version on Right Stuff. For it's like $2 cheaper, but because it's part of the winter sale. But I didn't think 34 was quite cheap enough to jump on it. This is the Classics release, and while I cannot speak on this particular part of the franchise, the rest of the franchise definitely is classic. So I think it is a very much a yes, please.
Well, I own the series, so I would also agree it's a yes, please. I love the first 3, especially Fomofu, which unfortunately is not in that vein, but it is a fun one. We talk about mecha series, and this one's one that is not an unknown property. It is very well done. I still have yet to watch this one other than the first few episodes, but it seemed okay at the time. Alright, I got a Liam Neeson film, Honest Thief. So, right here, see if I can. Meticulous thief Tom Carter has stolen $9 million from small-town banks while keeping his identity secret. But after he falls in love with the bubbly Annie, played by Kate Walsh, Tom decides to come clean about his criminal past, only to be double-crossed by 2 ruthless FBI agents. Packed with action, Honest Thief is a tale of redemption and one man's mission to make things right for the sake of love. Well, it's Liam Neeson. It can't be terrible.
Yeah.
Well, it could be
Liam
terrible.
Neeson crime film 2020.
But really and truly, unless I have more to it, it's always going to be a low curious. At best.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I have nothing to tell me that this is going to be another run all night, which is a good thing. But I don't know for sure that it's going to rise above and be something special. So, yeah. So, next up, I think it was last week we talked about a Richard Jenkins movie that I said I heard him talking about on the radio not long ago. This was the other movie I heard him talking about. It's called The Last Shift, where he plays an old dude who's on his last shift at a fast food joint. It's got Ed O'Neill in it. From what I can tell, it's probably not the greatest film in the world, but Jenkins is a phenomenal actor, and from what I understand, this does look like, at the very least, something that I would get something out of. And I think it'll be worth a viewing, so I'm going to give that a pretty good curious.
And if you've, and apparently if you like this, you'll also like The Tenant, Crash, The Secret Garden, First Cow, Westworld, Baby Teeth, and The Gentleman.
Because those are some very, very similar films right there.
Yeah, I guess I'll go curious as well. Interesting cast, interesting concept. Again, nothing telling me I need to get it, but yeah. All right, Last Warriors. which is very similar to The Tenant, Blindside, Ready Player One, Return of the King, Escaflowne.
Did you know Ernest Klein wrote a sequel to Ready Player One?
Yes.
I found out about this recently. I'm looking forward to reading it.
So, this looks like, I was going to say it looks like a post-apocalyptic movie. In the year 2961, the time is after humanity and nature has recovered the land. So, post-apocalyptic. A hunter named Cygnus is called to rise above his duty. He provides the last Ark, a once nomadic band of survivors in need of food and water, that is now growing scarce. The answer must be found before the group of outlandish heretics descend upon them. Yeah.
You know, I'm excited.
Okay, well, mine is meh. You gonna bring this up?
I concur.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, to bring it up, you'd have to put it as a priority. So I don't... Actually, no, as a yes, please, at least.
Right.
Let's see here. I didn't see you doing that.
No. Next up, The One You Feed. Interestingly enough, you can get it on DVD for 15 or Blu-ray for 40. That makes sense.
I hope they cleaned it up on the Blu-ray.
A stranger hikes out of town and into the forest. He sets up camp for the night. He hears a deep howling, peeks his head out the tent, and gets attacked, leaving him unconscious. An anonymous man drags his body to a house which is nestled in a place the time has somehow forgotten. The injured stranger awakens in bed as a woman nurses him back to health. This man and woman play a game with this stranger, a game that pushes him to the brink of madness. Yeah. This is apparently a Gravitas Ventures release. I don't know what that means necessarily. I really don't know what to think on this. I'm vaguely curious, but it's closer to meh. It's like right on the border.
Well, I will drag it down because it's very meh to me. It doesn't pique my interest at all. All right. Well, speaking of piquing my interest,
I'm sure this will be a meh.
Lupin the Third Tokyo Crisis, another Lupin the Third special. This one or film, it's hard to say. I can never remember the ones in different. This says film here. It came in the in one of the halls originally. It was called Tokyo Crisis in the well, okay. There you go.
Bring up the synopsis down there. Let me see.
Let's see here.
This may have been on the last haul, final haul, because I think I have this one.
I was gonna say it was one of those that came out on the halls. I couldn't, without them sitting here in front of me, I can't tell you which. But they really did save me apparently a lot of money on when these come to these re-releases.
Right.
But the Lupin the Third, to me, it's just a personal thing for me. But to me, Lupin is essential for any collection. Whenever there's new Lupin, if I have any money in the bank, it automatically goes to the Lupin that's coming out. So it's definitely a priority for me. Now, I feel like it could be pulled down, but...
Well, I don't prioritize them quite the way you do, so for me it's a yes, please. But it's definitely a strong one.
So, yeah, Lupin is always solid stuff. I have yet to see a Lupin movie or show that I have hated.
Right.
Yeah.
It's classic stuff. Definitely worth looking at.
I've watched a lot, but there is a ton out there, and I love that they finally licensed season 3. So that's going to be an awesome thing. Along with the second half of Koda-cha, which is going to get a re-release, which is awesome.
Yep.
Well, the second half's getting the first time release here.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to stick with my first. Well, I'm probably going to have to keep those Babbitt boxes because they're so cool. Now, something that may not be exactly cool, but should be interesting. We have a release called Thermae Romae about a Roman architecture, Lucius Modestus, who apparently finds a way to travel through time to modern Japan using bathhouses. And apparently this is a very dry comedy, but very gag-oriented comedy of the sort that may just make some people gag. I've seen it compared to Cromartie High and to most of the stuff that plays on Adult Swim. And I think that definitely, that comparison alone makes me very, very curious. Supposedly, the animation is so minimal that it's hardly even there. But some of the jokes apparently wear thin, according to most people. But I do enjoy me some Cromartie High, and I do enjoy me some C-Lab 2021 and Harvey Birdman and Venture Brothers and all. If this is in that vein, I will enjoy it. So, definitely curious.
It's cheap enough to where it might warrant a look. And I'm probably also going to put this into curious. Curious. All right. Next up, this one's kind of debatable because it said it's releasing next Monday, but this set has already been released in July of 2011.
Okay.
Maybe there's some sort of update to it, but Stargate Atlantis, the complete series. You know, I have yet to watch anything beyond the Stargate movie, but I heard that the Stargate series, both this one and SG-1, were pretty high rated on Sci-Fi Channel.
Well, they definitely have their fans.
I mean, to me, I don't really have a lot of investment. The movie I've got, but I really don't feel much of an investment into the series. I mean, if they're doing a re-release of it, that's awesome. If not, it's in print, so, no loss.
Yeah.
It's definitely got me as a curious, which is rare for me on a long TV series, but yeah.
Well, a complete series makes it a lot easier for that. I feel like I have a season of this upstairs, so I need to get the complete. If I'm remembering correctly, I have one of the Stargate ones, one season, so I probably need to get the complete series. It is one that has my curiosity, but it's going to be a minute before I see it. We'll go with curious though.
All right, your last
one for me, and I'm going out with a bang.
You're going to be triggered.
This dude's strapped with a bomb, apparently. 9 friends, each harboring a dark secret, go camping in the woods. After a wild night of partying, they wake up with suicide bombs strapped to their chests, all with varying times on their countdown clocks. Well, that's not very nice. They decide to work out how to disarm the bombs or find help, until they discover they can take one another's time by getting each other. Dun, dun, dun. I'm surprised you gave me this one. This is more up your alley.
It was kind of just, I had only a few left, and I was like, just throw this.
Yeah. Honestly, this looks like something that the group would probably enjoy and might end up covering one day, if anyone bothers to suggest it. Not knowing how graphic or gory it is, really hurts its potential in my mind. So I'm going to give it a meh.
I'm more on a meh myself on it. I don't really like the concept of it. It makes... To me, I mean, yeah, oh, you're going to buy yourself 20 extra minutes by killing somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to die regardless, so... whatever. You know.
You know, some people would do that, though.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some sort of commentary about human whatchamacallit, whatever. I've seen enough
Well, if it
commentary.
is, it's worth watching. What happened?
There's enough commentary going on this year.
True. At least this it's not expensive, but then it's a DVD only release too, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Last one. Two Ways
Okay.
Home. This could have been either one of ours, really.
Right.
But since normally you have more on the slate than I do, I went ahead and said, you know what, I'll go ahead and take more this time. Because it's very
Alright.
similar to Antebellum, Tokyo Ghoul. You might need blue light glasses to see it.
Oh, I was wondering where you came up with that. You were looking at this. It's similar to Rosario and Vampire,
Obviously.
Psychopath, and Gangsta. Okay, well that's good to know.
After being arrested for attempted armed robbery, Kathy is sentenced to prison, only to discover that her erratic actions were motivated by her bipolar disorder. Once diagnosed and treated with a mental health care program, her sentence is commuted and she is released back to the community. She returns to
She
her
has
home.
to wear a Rosario to keep the other personality in check.
Exactly. She returns to her hometown in rural Iowa to put her life back together and reconcile with her estranged 12-year-old daughter. But her plan to stay with her grandmother is thwarted by when she discovers he is suffering from a heart attack and is being kept at a nursing home by her parents. Conflict with her family intensifies when her teenage daughter's reaction to seeing her echoes the feelings shared by the whole family. They were happier when Kathy was out of their lives. Yeah.
Meh.
I'm a little bit on the curious side to this myself. It's still gonna be a meh, but because you've got meh on there.
Yeah, it's
thing
a
is-
high man.
This one is it's a bit too real for me.
Yeah.
I do like films about mental health, so that's why it keeps me curious. But I can tell you right now, that story is unfortunately very realistic. So I don't...
Right.
Because I see that stuff play out more often than I'd like. And it's kind of on that... It's sort of like how I don't like to... Why I hate SVU, because SVU reminds me of some of my worst cases. And this one might trigger those similar feelings, so I'm thinking it's going to be a low curious at best.
Right.
But
Yeah, I'm
possibly a
right
good
on the
film.
border. Yeah.
So, with that being said, we've got an interesting lineup here. A little more meh this week than yes please. But curiosity, as always, wins out.
Yep.
So, and of course, no must buys and no hell knows. So, hey, we're on a roll here.
Yeah, very middle of the road this week.
Of course, next week will probably bring us back to just selecting the cream of the crop again. But I hope you've enjoyed these shorter versions. Of course, if you have, click that like button, hit subscribe, and of course, have a great day.